Hi, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com, and I am here with Da Vinci, star of the STARZ TV series BMF Black Mafia Family. That's upcoming. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So, well, I want to ask you a couple of questions before we get into the TV show. So, I understand that you are from Brooklyn.
Yes,
What part?
Flatbush
You're from
on Ocean
Flatbush.
Ave. Yeah, I was born
Oh,
on
oh,
Woodruff Avenue.
excuse me. Okay, Ocean Ave, Flatbush, and you're Haitian.
Yeah.
Okay. I had to, make sure we put that in there. I'm I'm I've lived in Brooklyn a very, very, very long time, but not from the Flatbush area. I'm from the Bed-Stuy area.
Okay,
So
bedside.
yeah, definitely. So
Okay.
I've been to your side of town. I've actually even worked out there, but not from there. So I wanted to talk to you about this TV show. So of course, you've already been a part of some really kind of classic moments as far as TV, definitely in terms of like grownish. But this is a very different kind of undertaking, and I think what we do know about the show is that it's definitely going to be a moment, and it's going to be one of those shows that we sort of all watch together. What does it feel like being sort of a part of something like this, where you kind of can see it happening before your eyes?
You know, honestly, it doesn't. It doesn't feel real yet. It doesn't.
Hmm.
I think, and usually that's usually how I am. Like with any project, I have that's about to come out. And thankfully, every project that I've been a part of has everything has been a hit.
Hmm.
So, and that's the grace of God, and I'm hoping this is the same exact thing, and we all feel that, but sometimes you never know, and I'm such a huge part of this series, so it's a lot of pressure. So I'm just like in my head, I'm like, I just hope it lives up to the expectation, because you never know. So it's like I think it's dope. I think the writing is dope. I think we all did a great job, but you still never know at the end of the day how the world is gonna receive it. So I guess with that being said, it's like I don't automatically have it in my head like,
Hmm.
oh my God, like we're the shit. This is gonna be the number one show. I mean, I know everyone's saying this, and I hope that's the case, but part of me is just like I don't know what to expect if I'm being honest.
Well, I've actually watched the show. I did watch it. So just from watching it as a viewer, I already know what's gonna happen. I already
Oh,
see it.
well, thank you so much. That means a lot. That means a lot when I'm hearing, journalists and critics saying that.
No,
That
and
means a
you're such a
lot.
huge part of it. To your point, I mean, it's just like this is something where people are absolutely going to associate with you with this project. And I had questions for you because, again, you're coming from from Brooklyn and from a neighborhood like Flatbush. There are so many avenues a person can take. You took the avenue of saying to yourself, like, I want to be an actor. I don't want to go down this particular road. I mean, there's so many ways that your life could have went. And
Right.
did you find any kind of like parallels in terms of like what you may have been able to do with your life and what you didn't do? And maybe even friends that you had along the way that chose a different path?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. So like the first 13 years of my life, I was up north. So I
Mhm.
was in, Brooklyn and Jersey. My mom moved to Jersey at one point, and where we were in Jersey was Orange, New Jersey. It was basically the same thing as Brooklyn.
Mhm.
And it was a single mom raising. It was five of us in the house. I was the baby boy, and my grandma was there too. My grandma didn't speak any English, and so like when my older brother stopped playing video games and gravitated towards the street, that's exactly what I did. And me being a baby meant that I was the youngest one on the street, behind them and just following their footsteps. So, when they were selling whatever, I went to school at like fifth grade with weed in my pocket to sell it. So I was for sure a bad kid going down the wrong path. I caught a court case before. I was in a juvenile little detention center to where they try to like a scare straight program type of thing, because
Mhm.
that was just the environment that I was around, and it's just like you just had nothing but negative influences, and we just looked up to the gangsters. So that was definitely a path that I was heading towards. I was getting in a lot of fights. I was getting D's and F's in school. It was bad, but my father saw that happening, and then he took me and my other brother. We were two youngest, and I'm younger than he is, and he
Mhm.
took us and moved us in to Florida with him and his second family. So that right there kind of changed my life, a lot, because I was in a predominantly white area, my environment was completely different. I was deathly afraid of my father, so I didn't get my ass beat. So it really it changed my perspective on life, and I started forming healthier habits, and I started reading and educating myself in a different way. And it's through that I started like really thinking like maybe I can pursue my dreams. And when I got to college, I started thinking that. And I had different signs from people pushing me towards this direction. So I was like, you know what? I remember one of the things that stood out to me the most. One of my favorite books, The Alchemist. The little boy Santiago reminded me of myself a lot. And there's this quote that went like, "When something is really for you, the entire universe conspires into helping you achieve that goal." So when I heard that and saw, other like so many people just really like trying to help me achieve my goal. And I was like, wow, like, is this God talking to me right now? Like, maybe I should listen to this voice. I did. I moved back up north, and then I tried to look for my friends that I went to school with.
Oh, the from
All of
friends
them.
from Orange and in Brooklyn?
Yep, yeah,
Okay. Did you
all
find
of them
them?
was gone. No, they're gone.
Oh, wow. And then so when you
They're
say
gone.
gone, were like
Yeah,
what did you just
like
couldn't find them or they were just
they're locked up. Some
oh,
passed
see.
away to gang
Mm-hmm.
violence. Some joined the military. Some are just fiends now, and you can just
Mm.
you know what I'm saying. So it's just like I really have no childhood friends anymore. But it's crazy because I was like, wow, like that really could have been me if
Mm-hmm.
I went down that path and stayed up there. And I remember I had a teacher up north who told me like she was like, look to your left and look to your right. And in about 10 years, some of them are going to die. Some people are going to be in jails. And we were like 10, 11. She was just being so honest with us. And she
Yeah.
told us that. And she was absolutely right. She was
Yeah.
absolutely right. So playing this character, it definitely makes me think about like, wow, there's an avenue that, I really could have went down that path. So, that's why one of the dopest part about playing this character is that I know there's a lot of people in certain situations to where they're in a conflicted place and they're like, thinking, should I do this, this, that? So in interviews, I feel like that's our way of giving back and talking to the kids and helping people figure it out because
Mm-hmm.
it was people that was in the position that I'm in right now that changed my life. I was
Mm-hmm.
literally listening
Mm-hmm.
to interviews of people who made it out and I was studying their blueprint because everybody leaves a blueprint behind. So it's like, I just studied that and I was just like, okay, so they just thought themselves out of this by being positive, by reading, by doing X, Y, Z. So let me do this same thing despite my current circumstances. So I want to
Mm-hmm.
be able to do that for people. I don't know. I kind of went on a tangent, but to answer your
No,
question,
no, that was no, don't do that. That was a perfect answer. That was good to hear. But I think that what's so healthy about your character and the way that you because there's Big Meech who is sort of the stuff of legends, right? Like everybody's like, oh my God, Big Meech. I mean, listen, I'm of an age where I come from an era where in Atlanta, people talk about Big Meech like, he would like buy out the clubs and all this kind of thing. Like you just
right,
be in
right,
there just having your little drink, and suddenly you hear club is free for everybody, get whatever you want. And it was like he was kind of like the hood Santa Claus. So there's a very different. It just depends. However you see him, it depends on whatever your perspective is, and in terms of that era. But the very interesting thing about the character that you play, Terry, is that, like you said, it's just a very conflicting thing. Like here's someone that is kind of in a circumstance where you're kind of doing what you have to do, but you're like a lot of us where you just want better for yourself. Like imagine someone being a full-fledged, full-blown drug dealer and just curious about the world and learning and still keeping friends that keep him grounded, kind of almost leading a double life. And I think
right,
in a way a lot of us do that. And I think because I can also I can relate to you in terms of having immigrant parents, right? Like in a way we kind of lead a double life because you're at home, you have your sort of your Haitian family and background at home. I
right,
have my East African family background, and that's when I'm outside, right? And there's just
right,
certain
right.
things
Exactly.
that they don't get,
Yeah.
right? So you kind of like live this duality, this sort of double existence. In this case, it's like streets versus just trying to understand, like trying to be better, do better for self, and then of course there's also like family involved.
Right,
'Cause I
right.
really
Absolutely.
loved, yeah, I love what you did with the character. I think it's really cool. And I just wanted to say
Thank
it's so
you.
funny because you speak with such humility, and I've seen you, and I kind of expected you to be this sort of as laid back as you are. You seem so
So,
shy. It's like you're not, yeah, like you're not even realizing the impact of the characters that you've played. But there's something that you said that was just so particularly deep to me, because I really did look into some of the interviews that you've had in the past, and you said something that was just like, wow, like you said you're cursed with awareness. What does that even mean to you?
I think okay, so there's a saying that we use a lot, and it's ignorance is bliss.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe ignorance is bliss because the less you know is the more you can enjoy life.
Mm,
But the more aware you are, it comes with a burden. It comes with a suffering because you understand the meaning behind the subliminal messages.
I see.
You understand what agenda is trying to get pushed. You get what's going on, and it's just like I mean, the higher up you get, you observe it and you see what's going on, and it's just like, damn, this is it's kind of fucked up,
I know, right?
But there's definitely something we can do about it. And I think that the art of storytelling is so powerful because you could enter the subconscious mind of humans, and you can really shape their existence and alter some bad habits and bad beliefs that they have. So
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, but awareness, like a lot of awareness, definitely is it's a curse. It's a blessing, but it's definitely a
Mm-hmm.
curse as well. I think nature balances itself out, and
Yeah.
I feel like people who we seem to be like they're poor in the sense of money, but nature compensates them with riches and like happiness and spirituality. And
Mm-hmm.
like for instance, like this country, I feel like this country is a first world country
Mm-hmm.
materially, but it's a third world country in the spirits. Our morals, like our moral compass is so fucking far off and fucked up that it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
and it don't take a rocket scientist to see that. We're like the laughing stock for a lot of different countries. So I
Yeah.
think nature has this way of balancing things out, and with a lot of awareness, because one may look at that as a plus side, like you have an advantage in life, but it's like, nah, it balances itself out. It's
So
yeah.
and I understand not just getting a better understanding of your personality. So what social responsibility do you think that you have to the world just with this type of understanding? What
I
does that,
think
does it feel like a burden in terms of that as well?
um I think I feel like I'm an anomaly,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that I was blessed to be in this position, I think I was given this position to give back and
Mm-hmm.
help alleviate some of the suffering in the world. And I think as if you get fortunate enough to be in a platform that gives you great exposure, I think you're supposed to use that from some sort of good personally. And I think that's the way when you serve with the platform you have, I think it makes you happier. But when
Mm-hmm.
you use it all and try to me, it's not. It's gonna hurt you. It's gonna end up killing you because I don't think no one man was meant to have all this power, all this attention, all this money, all this whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're an entertainer, it's like I think I was saying this. Me and my friend was having this conversation. I think on his podcast. I was like, you're omnipotent. You're ubiquitous. You're able to be in
Mm-hmm.
millions of households at once. Only God can do that. So you have like a fraction of God's power. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? That comes with its side effects. Everything has a side effect, and I think but when you're in that position and you serve people and you give back and you understand like, someone upstairs is pulling the strings and you take all the pressure off of you and you're like, look, I'm just gonna be an assistant to that
Mm-hmm.
upstairs, then it it makes your life a lot better. It takes a lot more pressure off of you because you're not the one leading, you know what I'm saying? But when
Mm-hmm.
you feel like I'm the one that's leading, I'm the one that's doing this, I need all this, and you're taking all this attention and all this money and fame and acceptance and all this stuff, I think that's when it could crush you. It can
Mm-hmm.
crush you.
So then let me ask you this too, because of that, people, and especially with a role like this, they may perceive you a certain way. I mean, obviously you are a person that has, a great amount of humility, and you are pretty soft spoken, I would say. Is fame something that you find to be a comfortable thing? I know obviously you enjoy acting, but being famous and just being inundated with attention, is that weird?
Um, it is, and I think given the cards that I was dealt in my life, the way I played it. Unfortunately, I had to sell my privacy
Mm-hmm.
for exchange of fame.
Mm-hmm.
But I never wanted to be famous. I always wanted to tell stories. Like I started off in this business doing music. I love writing. I love telling stories and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, but the side effect of being good at what you do is fame,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
true.
and
Yeah, you get the yeah, you get known for it.
you can't really, yeah, exactly. You can't really escape that. If it was up to me, if I came from a better family, well, I'm not gonna say a better family. I would say a family that had more access to things and more
Yeah.
money. I think I probably would have been some type of scientist or something like that. But the way,
Hmm.
my cards played out is like the entertainment industry was the route that I went for because I was chasing financial freedom and I knew I had talents. So I'm just like, okay, let me chase it this way. But then chasing that freedom, I really been putting myself in a prison. It's crazy. So it's
Oh,
like,
I
damn.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
I
mean,
know.
but there's a lot of perks and beautiful things that come with
Let's
it.
talk
Yeah,
about the
but
beautiful perks. Yes.
yeah, there's a lot of great things that come with that I mean, I've me being so disciplined in myself and working so hard, I managed to create this character that when people see, it makes their day. And
Yes.
I have the ability to inspire people, to help uplift people, and I think that's so dope. Because at the end of the day, when you're alive, I think your only purpose is to help a life. If you can help a life, you can create a life, you can make someone's life better, then you're doing something right. So yeah, so you have that, but at the same time, I'm not gonna sit here and be fake and just act like, oh my God, everything's so good. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything is just yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like nah, it comes with this fair share of cons, and I think especially when you're not used to this lifestyle,
Hmm.
it's like when you just because I kind of just got into it, so it's like it's still so like, yo,
Yeah,
this
it's
is a
still kind of
lot.
new for you, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm still like a rookie in it, and I'm just like, wow, this is a lot because the first 5 years of a kid's life is the most formative years of their life. So it's like
That
my
is
first
correct.
5 years, I was in Brooklyn. I wasn't bred to be in a situation where I'm making X amount of dollars, where people are looking at me as a commodity, when you know what I'm saying, where I have to look at myself in an entirely different way. I wasn't bred for that. So I'm
Hmm.
relearning life. So there's growing pains that come with it. So
Yeah.
and me talking about the growing pains is what allowed me to fix the problems and be
Mm-hmm.
aware of it. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it's like I'm not gonna sit here and just make it sound like, oh yeah, it's all good. Oh my God, I like the fame. Oh, I like all the money. I like all the women. It's like, man, it's just
Money
bullshit.
phone
You
and
know?
the that's
Yeah,
not you.
it's yeah.
I don't take that seems to be your style, right?
I would never. I'm a grown man. Like I'm not
I
doing
know.
stuff like that.
No, it's a lot of people that's twice your age that's out here with the
Yeah, and it's just like I just think you know what, I can't speak on that, but
what do you credit
I
to
just
that?
think it's a lack of.
Do you think it's because of your family's background in terms of your roots in Haiti, or do you believe it's Brooklyn, or like what do you credit to your groundedness? Because you have a very I'm going to be very honest with you, an extremely different perspective to most people that I talked to. And I've talked to hundreds of people, and you have a very unique way of just really being super grounded. I mean, the humility is like it's almost like it's breathtaking.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that, and I guess shout out to my parents
Hmm.
for that. I think how because we never had much growing up, but we didn't know we didn't have much. You know what I'm saying? Like my parents knew how to make a dollar work.
Hmm.
They know how to stretch a dollar out, and we were born hustlers. And I guess we come from a country where they were the first black people to gain their independence. So
That's right.
and the smarter Haitians, the more evolved ones, not the ones that you see in the news that they're suffering and they're poor. They're
Right.
really mature. They're really mature and very classy. So it's like
Hmm.
I think because we were colonized by the French, French people are super bougie. So I guess it's how my parents raised me in a way. But then also I think it was God because some of the stuff is innate. Is
Hmm.
innate, and I think God has really blessed me with the gift of like observation and that being a
Hmm.
baby boy as a kid. I didn't go through puberty as fast as all my other brothers, and now I'm 6'3", 195 pounds, but that shit didn't happen fast. So I had to. When I'm fighting with my brothers, they were way stronger than me and way bigger than
Hmm.
me, so I had to outsmart them and try to observe and see what was going on. So
Hmm.
I guess all the experiences I went through in my life kind of paved the way for this. So it's
Hmm.
like a collective thing for like everyone, and it's super fortunate. I'm happy about it. And I think what it really is because I don't care about the material world. Like
I
that's the
believe
truth.
you. Yeah, I believe
When
that.
it comes
Mhm.
to design, like I just learned about all the designers like Louis, Gucci, and Saint Laurent, all that stuff, like 2 years ago, and it was because of my ex-girlfriend.
Mhm.
And she was like, and she was teaching me about that. But it's like, and I have my friend who's my stylist, and it's like, she was like, oh, this Dior. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
It's
Like,
not
I'm like,
even
if it looks,
yet.
I'm like, if it looks nice, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just, I don't want people to judge me off of that, like
Mhm.
to judge me off the merits of my character. Because like, I
Yeah.
want to be relatable. You know what I'm
I
saying? It's like, how am I going to be relatable if I have a $20,000 shirt on that my audience, they can't, their whole life savings all together can't purchase that shit.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
No, I feel that.
and I
Mhm.
just want to be relatable at the end of the day and just,
Mhm.
and I don't like the celebrity life. So if
Mhm.
I'm the
So do
more
you find yourself like,
relaxed,
so I'm gonna ask you about that. So because you now are sort of in that world, so you say you don't like the celebrity life. So do you find yourself sort of saying like, I don't do the industry thing? Because there's, you can go and, work those rooms and, be popping bottles and so forth. So do you just kind of take a back seat to that?
yeah, for sure. Like unless I'm with my I'll go out sometimes and
Hmm.
with my friends, but it got to be my friends. Like we're
Hmm.
all like and the thing about me and my boys and my friends, like we're all like down to earth and shit.
Right.
So it's like we could just be chilling, staring at a rock, and we just having a good time because we didn't lose our ability to socialize. And I think this generation, which I'm a part of it,
Hmm.
because I was born in 195, so it's like but it's like
I have
poverty is
memories from
blessed.
1995.
I don't.
But I
I
do.
don't. But
I'm
it's
listening.
like I guess it's because I still have the ability to socialize. So me and my friends, man, we're so we talk and we're so down to earth that we don't like the whole industry thing is just
Yeah.
like that shit ain't. I don't
But
want to
these,
sound like one of those people that be like, oh man, I don't fuck with the industry. I'm not an industry type of
no, no,
nigga.
no, I
Like I'm
understand.
not trying to, but it's just like to me, it's like I for real can't relate to that because I just got in this position.
Hmm.
Like I'm fresh, so it's like I can't relate to the kids that they talk to workers as if they're robots. You know what I'm saying? Because their whole
Mm,
life they've been in this business, so they talking to PAs
talking
crazy because
crazy. Yeah.
they've been served their whole life. But it's like, yo, chill. My mom worked at a nursing home. That could be my mom you talking to. So it's like
Yeah.
me and that person will always have a problem because I was just raised different. I don't know how they
Uh-huh.
was raised, so I stayed my distance. Otherwise, and people's gonna start looking at me like, and that's how rumors start. Oh, this nigga think he's better than everyone. So it's just like me. I just sit
But
myself
you
down in my corner.
classically, that's projection. Because you know that you can't be treating people like that. If a person is really, really comfortable with themselves, they're not going to treat people with, disrespectfully. So that kind of nastiness and that sort of base, terrible way to address other people with no respect, that's those people projecting their illness and their toxicness on others. So for someone to
Right.
judge you for calling that out, it's not a reflection of you having poor behavior. It's more a reflection of them feeling poorly about themselves.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
That's
You know.
which is very true, but unfortunately, people don't see it like that, and
Hmm.
it's it can be real
No,
problems that come out of situations like that.
no, I mean, I understand what you're saying because a lot of times too, it's kind of like, well, now you're Da Vinci. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that person shouldn't even be speaking to you. And it's just like, well, who wants to live a life where you're looked at, where you're kind of looking at people that in like tears, sort of like this person can speak to
Exactly.
me. Like, I wouldn't
Right.
want that either.
Right.
Yeah,
And that right there is the strangest thing because when I be on
yeah,
set, I talk to the PAs, I talk to the extras, and I talk to everyone, and I remember one time a PA, I think an extra was just like, oh my God, I'm really not supposed to be talking to you, but
yeah.
it's
They get in
like.
trouble. They do.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, no, it's fine. Like, you're not gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna say I was the one who talked, and I was just like, this is crazy because like this industry create the monsters, and then when the
Yep.
monsters become the monsters, they're just like, well, how did this happen? It's just like, well, you
Look
know what
what
I'm
you did.
saying? I can tell you
Right.
how it happened. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's funny. So I try to stay out of it as much as possible, just so I can still remain myself. I
Have you
think that's
found
why.
have
Hmm?
you found peers in the industry who you can relate to who have the same mindset that you do though? For what you've seen that's sort of bad behavior, do you see a lot of good behavior too though?
I do. I do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to speak without trying to throw shade towards anyone, because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
perfect myself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We all, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to be better, which I hope, and that's just what I strive for.
Ultimately. Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, like, okay, there's some people, and there's not everyone in the business is the same way, because there's a lot of people who got in as grown men as well. I got it because I got it
Mm-hmm.
at 21. You know, but the thing is like sometimes they're not as successful
Mm.
as I am.
Mm-hmm.
So it limits how much we can hang out,
Okay.
because then it's like, because you get to a point to where if we're going somewhere and going on a trip, and the trip is like, let's say it's probably gonna be roughly $2,000, and everyone is just comfortable just blowing $2,000, right? Some of my friends who's in the business, who have the same spirit as me, they can't call out of work. They can't do that. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So it's like sometimes the business, it isolates you
I,
unintentionally, only because
mm-hmm.
you're in a different bracket. So you can mentally compete with someone, but financially, you know what I'm saying, you're running on different fuel than they are. So you either gotta carry them, or you know what I'm saying, and you don't want to make that a habit. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's this weird, this industry is so strange, and I feel like every agency, from athletes, actors, rappers, whatever, is like every agency should come with this therapist for the
No, I
client,
mean,
and the
well, you know,
client
they
the
do
client
that with
no, but the client
well,
shouldn't have to pay for it.
right, exactly. Because I was gonna say they do that a lot with athletes, where they kind of give them like the financial sort of background, like this is what you're gonna do. Let's give you this groupie lesson. Like, don't do that. Don't be in the DMs. Don't be talking crazy
Right,
on
right,
internet.
right,
Yeah, they kind of give them this. I mean, of course, people are gonna be who they are. They're gonna do what they want to do, and they're gonna jump out
right,
the window 99% of the time. But they at least
right,
attempt to sort of like prepare you to be the best you. You know. But of course, people are gonna do what they're gonna do. You know.
right.
But I mean, you brought up something that I thought was really interesting, because at some point, like, right, like you said, there's experiences that you may want to have, and you know, you might be like, well, it's not so bad for me to go ahead and just pay for my friends to come along. But then after some point, at some time, some people start probably expecting certain things.
Exactly.
Right. So have you found yourself maybe even losing friends, or maybe having to change the parameters of relationships because of how people now have decided to see you? Even though, I mean, to you, you've not changed at all, but to them, they have different
Yeah,
expectations. Hmm.
yeah, for sure. Because
Hmm.
it's like now you gotta. And sometimes I'm fine with this, but
Hmm.
sometimes I have to take a take a L just to match a friend.
Hmm. I see.
You know what I'm
Okay. Okay.
saying? Like
Yeah. You
I
know,
would have to
I
like
know what you
something
mean,
like
though.
a
Hmm.
place that I would never ever be at, and not because of me being bougie.
Hmm.
It's just certain things in certain areas I just don't want to go, because it's a liability that you're
Yeah.
dealing with,
You
certain
shouldn't
type
be
of
there.
humans. Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's
Yeah.
like, but I'll swallow my pride and be like, you
Yeah.
know what, let me do that. But I can only do that for so long, because at the end of the day, you can't keep dumbing yourself down for others, because it's really gonna dumb you down at the end of the day. So it's
Yes.
like, yeah, but because me and my friends, like, we're so happy doing simple things as well. So I've been having a lot of game nights and shit like that. So
Mhm.
that's fun, and we can all do that together. But certain things is like it's tough.
And
It's sure
where are
tough.
you most comfortable? Is it Brooklyn or elsewhere?
I cannot stand New York, LA,
You
LA,
think you
LA.
can't stand New York?
No, I can't
What?
stand New York.
You don't be
New
in
York,
Flatbush? You don't be at the junction at the Applebee's?
no, hell no. New York is too crowded, congested, and just New York is a lot. New York is a lot for me, and it's like I can't.
So what do you like about LA? You like doing the hiking, like you like walking the canyon and stuff like that?
I like, for sure. I love the nature in LA. I
Hmm.
love the landscape. I love the
Hmm.
beach. But yeah, no, I think if you have a good group of friends,
Yeah.
LA is great.
It, LA's a great place if you well, let me just put it like this. LA with resources. LA is a great place where you can enjoy your solitude, or like you said, with a good group of friends, you can also have a very just a very comfortable, quiet, and just a very good existence. Like, if you don't have to be rich necessarily, but if you have
Right.
the resources to enjoy yourself and you're not necessarily struggling, then I think LA can be a really, really quiet and comfortable place. I do agree with that. I actually think
Right.
that New York for me is, if I was to choose between New York and LA, I kind of do enjoy the hustle and bustle of New York. Now, I personally,
Really?
I wouldn't live in Flatbush.
You said you want to live on Flatbush?
I would not live on or in
Yeah.
Flatbush. No. I mean, I'm a Bed-Stuy girl. Like Bed-Stuy to me is comfortable, like that part of Brooklyn. Or if let's just say like all things considered, like money wasn't a problem, I could do whatever I wanted to in my life. I could live in like Brooklyn Heights. Now that's bougie. I could do that.
Right. Right.
Like a
I
little
see what you're saying.
brownstone.
Right. I would need. I just need more like nature.
Okay. So then you could do, I
Like
mean,
I,
you like the suburbs.
yeah, I like the suburbs way more. There's nothing like a bunch of trees and grass and you got some woods. And that's probably came from when I moved to Florida. When I moved
Yes,
to Florida,
yeah, yeah.
I like Florida. I like
Very
this land
different.
and this space. It's
Hmm.
therapeutic.
Do
That's
any
for
of your
sure.
other siblings, they act too, or just you?
No, it's just me. But all my brothers can though. Like they're
Okay.
I come from a really talented family. Like for sure.
Okay.
Like we're like super talented. But
That's dope.
just the way life
And what do they think
play
about
out.
this? Like all of this with you, like how do they take it?
They're blown by it, but they expected it because they knew this was supposed to happen to one of us because we were all like
Oh, yeah.
really talented. And as kids, we always used to just we would sit in the backyard, lay on the floor, and like look at the sky, and we would just talk about what we're gonna be one day.
Oh,
So it's like so we literally like manifested this as kids, not even realizing.
that's
So
super
it's like
amazing.
it's kind of dope. So we kind of expected it, but we're still like super shocked. Like, damn, you're really doing it at the highest level.
Yeah, you really are. And I'm gonna bring it back now to BMF because your character, now that I'm knowing more about you, it makes sense to me that you would have chosen to play this character, and what really drew you to the role. I mean, it makes so much sense to me now.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay, of course. He wouldn't have played Big Meech, no.
Right. Right. Big Meech is a flashy guy.
No, 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 no. He wouldn't have did that. It's like, wow. So is that really like when you were
It's
looking at it, were you like, huh?
yeah, it was wild because there was a lot of similarities. There was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
similarities between us, and just how him being a little brother, but he acts as the bigger brother sometimes, and
Mm-hmm.
he want to be the bigger brother. And I think it's funny because I'm the baby, but my mom always tell me it's like I'm really like the first kid, and my
Mm-hmm.
first name is like Abraham. So they make this joke in my family. They call me Father Abraham because they're like you're really like the oldest one in the
Mm-hmm.
family. So it's funny, but yeah, it's crazy how that worked out because I really do have a lot of similarities to Terry.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. And so what should we take away from your character, Terry? What's the lesson here really? Because there's good and bad, really.
Right. I think for the entire project, not just my character, I just want people to just take away that one, this is a true story, so don't do any of this at home.
Right, I know exactly. I was thinking about that as I was watching.
But two is like those kids were put in a very unfortunate situation, but their heart was still consumed by more good than bad.
Hmm.
That they were able to help so many people out with the riches that they've acquired. Like they provided scholarships for so many people, business funding for so many people, and help
Hmm.
employed actually hundreds and hundreds of people. So it's like a lot of times when people are, talking about them as these thugs, it's like let us not forget that the founding fathers of this country was the biggest gangsters in the world. They
Hmm.
came to a land and say, "Hey, we discovered a new land where people were clearly living there."
Yeah, it's
Most
true.
gangster shit in the world, and everything they did to acquire power have been gangster ever since.
Hmm.
And then when they got their power, they put laws in place so you cannot do what the fuck they did. And then
Hmm.
they now and that's the American dream because now they're able to provide opportunities the way they want. These two brothers did the exact same thing. When they got incarcerated, years later, look at this show being made because of them. I'm employed. Their son, Little Meech, is employed, and he's able to live out the American dream because of what his father did. And hundreds of people was employed from Atlanta to Detroit. Us having this conversation right here, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it still provided that way to really just help people, So they definitely had good hearts at the end of the day. But like I was saying before, poverty is the mother of all crime, like Marcus
Hmm.
Aurelius said. And when you're extremely poor and put in a certain situation, it's kind of hard for you to try to do the right thing if the system is not even designed for you to do the right thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's true.
so it's difficult, but it's one of those things that it's all perception at the end of the day, because right and wrong is all you. But I don't want people to look at the story and think, okay, I need to do this
I
to get
wondered
out
about
to
that.
get.
I wondered about that. Like seriously, because there are elements of it where I think some people might look at some of the things that they enjoyed as aspirational, but again, like you said, I mean, look at the path that it takes to get there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
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 there's anything you do in life is a lot of consequences, and that's a
yes,
route. If you go, there's a lot of consequences, and most likely you're gonna get caught. So that's something I would not try to glorify. I
hmm,
wouldn't make that the gangster life. I wouldn't glorify it, because I personally, lost a lot of people to that,
hmm,
physically. I lost a lot of people mentally to it, and it's definitely not a life that's worth boasting and bragging about.
hmm,
But at the end of the day, these guys, their hearts was really good, and they grew up in a time in the '80s where Detroit was the murder capital of America. So it's like
hmm,
their situation and circumstances was a little different. So it's like I don't know what that was like, but don't believe everything you see on TV, and don't
hmm,
go and do that. But nowadays we have more opportunities to make it out, and we don't have to do it like that. So
yeah,
that's
it's
really
true.
what I would, tell people to do. Because nowadays you can't even, as two niggas from the hood, you can't even get that big and moving drugs. You
You they
can't, because
they, they don't they have all these
you
like
can't.
RICO laws and all kind of stuff, and all the
Yeah, yeah.
surveillance and stuff. It's just a different time.
Like it's a different
Yeah,
social media, all this shit. It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
don't try this at home, please.
You keep saying, "Don't try this at home." Yeah,
Please.
I know people like they tell on themselves. They tell them on themselves in their rap lyrics. They tell on themselves in their interviews, and they tell on
Right,
themselves on Instagram. So it's just I look at certain things. And I'm like, yo, the downfall was the person.
right,
Yeah,
right.
it's
And
not
then and
work.
something
Yeah,
else is like, I would say, like, they did that, so we don't have to do that today.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Like we don't have to do that today. So it's just like,
Hmm.
let's just learn from it. That's all I
Hmm.
would say. Learn from, our forefathers' mistakes,
Hmm.
and whether a lot of us, whether we don't want to see them as that, but they are, and
Hmm.
some people look at them as criminals, some people look at them as heroes, and at the end of the day, I just think we need to learn from the good and the
Hmm.
bad, and
Hmm.
they've done good and bad, and
Yeah, I
but
mean
they've done a lot of good.
we're all multifaceted sort of creatures, so I don't like to look at anybody as any one thing anyway. So I think it's healthy to understand that we all we're the sum of different parts. So that's important
Right.
to note. Yeah, you can't just say somebody's just evil. There's
Absolutely.
there's good in that, even even in the bad. And again, to your point, I mean, you understand why they chose the route that they did, and you
Right.
understand why, like you said, you shouldn't try it at home.
Exactly.
What's next for you, Da
Exactly.
Vinci?
I'm leaving on Sunday to New York to
Oh,
start
your favorite
Broadway.
place.
Right, right. To start Broadway for 4 months. So I'm
Okay, you're gonna do
starting to
Broadway.
play. Yeah, yeah. I'm starting a play called Thoughts of a Colored Man. So
Okay.
that's an interesting thing. I've never done Broadway. I've never done theater on that level before. So I think this is gonna
That's so
be a,
cool. When you
a
go to
dope
New York, do you
experience.
stay with family, or are you just like, listen, I'm going to stay in the city.
No,
I
no,
got
no,
my
no,
little.
no, no. I'm staying in the city by myself. I can't.
How did
Nah.
I know that?
Yeah, yeah, I just wouldn't be able to focus, because my mom just wouldn't understand that I'm trying to focus, and she'll try to talk
Right,
to me every second, and I'm like, no, mom, please. Like, I'm actually, like, there's a reason why they pay me this much. It's like I've
right,
really
right.
got to like focus.
That's hilarious. I'm so excited for
Like,
you. No, I mean, I mean, you're particularly grounded in a different way, and I mean, I don't mean that as an assault on anybody else's character. But your perspective is just really, really unique. And I'm not trying to say, at your age, like you're just so young. I mean, you're still a grown ass man, you know what I'm saying? But
all right,
it's just it's very, very interesting and quite I'm just honored to speak to somebody that is just has the perspective that you have at this time. I know when I was your age, I was not, my head wasn't in the game like this. So it's dope to
Gotcha.
see
Thank you
that.
so
Yeah.
much.
No,
I really appreciate that a lot. Like a lot.
no, no. And I think many people will appreciate this interview because, again, people, like you said, they see you like, oh, he's on social media. He's 6'3". He over here playing Terry Flenory. We've seen him on these TV shows. He was a famous guy, but maybe in some
Right.
instances they don't know the guy. And so this interview at least gave me tremendous and incredible perspective and the type of human that you are. And I think that you're definitely quite a light, and I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for that.
Thank you. So, in closing, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com. I am here with Da Vinci. He is the star of BMF Black Mafia Family that's coming out on STARZ. I've already seen it, guys, so I got to be one of the lucky ones. But it will be out that's September 26th
Yep.
on
September
STARZ.
26th.
On STARZ, get ready. Thank
All
you, Da
right. Thank you so
Vinci.
much for having me. I enjoyed
Thank
this
you.
conversation. Thank
Thank you.
you.
I enjoyed it too. I genuinely enjoyed it. Or I'd have been like, thank
Same.
you. Bye. Have a good one. Take care, okay?
All right. You have a good one.
You too.